Yo, it's your boy Logos. And a couple weeks ago, I did a reaction video to Taraji P. Henson's video where she discussed pay disparity in Hollywood. And within that video, I was very clear on my perspective. Nobody owes you anything. You have to negotiate for your contract, how much money you will get paid. And it's not about what you think you deserve or what your fans think you deserve. It's about what you can give back to the company and this movie. How much more people gonna go and see this movie now because you're in it? What kind of movie are you actually participating in? If it's a rom-com, if it's a drama and not an action film, not a blockbuster, not something that can sell a lot of tickets and make money back to the studio, then it really doesn't matter. You can think you're owed 15 million, 5 million, 10 million, but when the budget overall is like 60 million, you're crazy. You're not getting that. Not going to spend a quarter of their budget just to get one actress or one actor, unless it's a movie that is so heavily predicated on that particular person, like Lincoln with Daniel Day-Lewis. Like he is playing the main character. The film is focused on his character for 90% of the film, and throughout the film, he's acting at the highest level possible. That's why he's considered the greatest actor of all time. That's how it works. Not about what you think you're owed, not about what you think you deserve, not your quote unquote truth. I love how you try to use words that don't really actually mean what y'all say. Your truth. It's not your truth, it's your experience, your perspective, and your opinion. That's not facts. It could be facts depending on evidence, but you just saying it doesn't make me believe it. But unfortunately, nowadays, people just go along with what people say if they like them. And I'm not a fan of that. I'm not going to do that. I don't think it's necessary or productive. Let's get into this video because I'm curious to see what Monique got to say. But she had her issues with Netflix a few years ago. And just like with Taraji, had no issues with Netflix saying, I'm not paying you that money. You're not Dave Chappelle. You're not Bill Burr. You're not on the level of George Carlin or oh, I'm not forgetting his name, Richard Pryor. You're not one of those guys. So you're not gonna get that much money. If you don't like it, leave. That's the way it is. Let's get into it.
When I listen to your story, you say dirt poor,
Yes.
bathroom outside.
Yes.
It was, we had to make it work however we can make it work.
Correct.
And then you get that first big check.
Yes.
And you think the people that gave it to you was awesome because they gave it to you. And it's more money than you've ever seen before until you find out this ain't the right money. This ain't the right amount. Wait a minute. If they got this, why am I getting this? Then you start putting the pieces together and you start saying, it's not right and I'm going to speak about it. See,
It depends on what you're actually speaking on and who's the actual other person that you're being compared to. If somebody has more years of experience, if they have bigger movies, more successful movies or TV shows, they get more money. It doesn't matter what you think you should get. It's about, proven track record. And more recently matters more than 20, 25 years ago. You can't say I was the biggest thing 25 years ago and get I don't know, have this expectation that you still get paid now compared to what you was back then. That's not how it works. This isn't the NBA where sometimes franchises will do like a supplemental contract to give them more money at the end of their career, like Kobe Bryant or Dwayne Wade, because they sacrifice money. Excuse me, they sacrifice money throughout the whole tenure of their career to get better players, to get more championships. So that's a scenario where that does happen, but this isn't that. In that case, they already proven themselves. They're a legend, and they're still producing too. So it's just not the same.
when I saw Taraji broken on those platforms, it was painful to watch. However, Taraji and I had a conversation over a decade ago.
Yes.
In my trailer when I was doing the Monique show. And she said, you got to keep on getting it until your turn comes. And I said, Taraji, most of us die before our turn comes. We got to ask for it right now. Now, I understand that because there was a time I felt the same way.
Exactly.
Because that's what I was told.
Right.
You just keep going and we'll get them the next time. We'll get them the next time. We'll get them the next time. And the next time never comes. And then you see our sister, broken, sitting on those platforms. Now, when I said it,
why didn't it get the traction when you said it that when she said it? Now all of a sudden everybody is coming, and I don't have a problem.
If we're talking about the Netflix thing, like I just said, Netflix is not going to pay you anywhere close to the same they pay Bill Burr or Dave Chappelle. Yes, you should get a contract because I do believe she has fans. Even though I don't really care about her comedy stand-up personally, I really never cared to check it out. Either way, I think we all know if we're like coming back to reality, people wasn't clamoring to see her like Dave Chappelle. When Dave Chappelle disappeared and went to Africa and had a whole issue with Hollywood, excuse me, people were still clamoring to see his stuff. He had the Chappelle show, which was ginormous. You can't even put that into words how much that show blew up. And then he just walked away from it. He had all this power and all this gravitas and all this influence through his comedy and his writing. I don't see that same thing with Monique. Much more, definitely much more with Cat Williams. Like he's up there, he's cemented. But I don't think Monique is up there with Dave Chappelle. When Dave Chappelle was like gone, not doing stand up, he would just pop up at small little diners or small comedy clubs. People would call their friends at like 1, 2 in the morning, midnight, say, "Holy shit, Dave Chappelle's in town. He's doing stand up right now. You got to come over right now to see him." I don't see people doing that for.
I'm glad.
Yes.
But if you said this a decade ago, and I remember you saying it over a decade ago, why didn't it get the traction? Why didn't it get the support? Why wasn't it propped up when Monique said it?
I think there's a few reasons why. Number one, it was the messenger. I should just be grateful I got invited to the party. You a big, fat, black woman. How dare you be the one? And then on top of that, you're saying names. You're saying Oprah's name out loud. You're saying Tyler's name out loud. You're saying Lee's name out loud.
And you're naming people that have much more influence, much more money, has much more in terms of box office, in terms of people that actually go and see it, they have much more success. Now, I'm going to be completely upfront with you. I don't watch Oprah. I don't watch anything on her network own. I don't watch Tyler Perry. I fucking don't like Tyler Perry movies at all for many reasons. And Lee Daniels, I mean, I saw one of his movies with I think Forrest Whitaker. Was that The Help or that was something else? Either way, like the people that she's naming, I don't watch their stuff, but I know they get much more on what's the word? Out success, actual people that go and see their stuff compared to others. Tyler Perry can afford to have his own studio. Like that's how much people go out and see his films, regardless if I like them or not. So I can't deny what he can produce. I can with Monique. I looked at her IMDb a couple days ago when this dropped. Nothing there. Saw maybe a couple movies had like big fame, notoriety, stuff that you could use to negotiate future contracts. Really nothing at all. What she had, the best thing she had was Precious, which we all know. But after that movie, there was nothing big or hard hitting after it. And that's what you have to do. You have to build on your success. You can't just do one thing and say, pay me for it. Or do comedy and say, pay me for it, even though he wasn't that big compared to all the other people who get paid like.
You're saying Lionsgate out loud. That's not what we do. We say they. We say the people. We say the studio. We say the producers. How dare you actually say our heroes' names?
You're very specific.
These are our heroes.
I don't know, man. If you find Oprah, Tyler Perry, and Lee Daniels your hero, I don't know, maybe it's just because I don't care about Hollywood like I used to, but I just find it very weird when people find celebrities, people they don't know as their heroes. Like look around and people when you like in your vicinity, or people to be inspired by. You don't have to be their hero, but you could see their personality, their hard work, their drive, their ambition, and being inspired by that. I really don't care about these celebrities that give off an image when they're behind the camera or in front of a camera. Maybe that's just me.
How could you say their names out loud? Because they're the ones that did it. And if I don't say it out loud, now you see a woman that is swallowing that pain, that is so stressed out. Then you see our sister Taraji P. Henson sit on that platform. And I love that baby because she's a beautiful spirit. But to see her that broken, what our community was saying was, we have a hard time, some of us, we have a hard time seeing a strong Black woman with a back straight and a chin up and a strong Black man standing by her side. We have a hard time accepting that, but we can accept seeing a Black woman broken. Now it's really serious because she's falling apart. Our community had a hard time with those two things. And when I would hear people say, why is her husband there? Why is he there?
Why would he
It's
not?
a sad day when we're questioning why a Black man would stand with his Black woman.
That's pretty weird. There, people are saying why he's there at the interview. What, supporting her? Like, what else should he do? Like, uh, isn't that the whole point of a marriage? Having a wife, having a husband, for you to be their support system. Regardless of how I feel about Taraji or Monique about the pay thing, there's absolutely nothing wrong with her husband being there supporting her. He should be there supporting her because that's his wife. I agree with Monique on that. That's pretty damn weird.
So when you hear Black women saying we're the most undervalued, disrespected, underserved, mistreated, violated,
Oh my God.
exploited, we get all of that. Then you
Oh my God. So let me ask y'all a question, and I don't care if it's gonna piss some people off. How many of these women that you see letting themselves be exploited, like showing off their body, saying a bunch of crazy things, fighting, acting ratchet, acting like they have no home training or house training or no parents growing up, but they still profit off of it. They still make it seem like it's a good thing. People actually defend it, and then they say they get it in the bag. Like, at a certain point, certain people, not everybody, but certain people are actively trying to be exploited or actively just using their body or certain types of things to get money, and people defend it all the time. So maybe in some scenarios she's right, but not all of them. Let me go back just to make sure I clearly understand what she said.
undervalued, disrespected, underserved.
Like, yeah, like, of course I disagree with a lot of stuff she's saying, but I just can't help but feel it's kind of crazy hearing this shit when you have Black women doing the things I just mentioned, like on Love and Hip Hop, or female rappers, the stuff with Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. Just there's no white person, there is no Black man, there is no other race right there besides two Black women throwing shit at each other and saying horrible things to each other. Like, come on, like seriously, shut the hell up with this nonsense about how disrespected you are. You can't even respect yourselves. Like, people all across the world from different nationalities or backgrounds get disrespected for different reasons, depending on who they're interacting with. And that's more individually compared to, like, a whole group. But at the same time, like, come on, man. If you're gonna come out here and tell me that Cardi B or Sukiana or Sexy Red is a princess or queen and they're just getting the bag, okay. But then at the same time, you're saying Black women are the most disrespected, but you love defending and upholding people that have no respect for themselves or no dignity. It's just funny. It's just very funny.
Mistreated, violated, exploited. We get all of that. Then you see a Black man standing with his Black woman saying, not on my watch. And you hear some Black men saying, why her husband gotta be there?
And
We're in a sad state of affairs.
I didn't hear any of that. But if you did see that, put in the comments down below so I can maybe check that out. But I really didn't see anything like that. But of course, I really didn't care to be on the ear of the Taraji P. Henson stuff because if you ask me, what is it doing for my life? I don't care. If it's not me, talking about it on the channel, I'm bringing reality to the situation. Really don't care.
When we begin to question Black love and Black unity, so they didn't want to hear me, some of them, because of what I look like, because I spoke about their heroes, and because they saw that man standing right there strong.
Did they question the validity, because we had never seen this before, not so public, not so present.
Yes.
Did they question you and his relationship?
Me and my husband?
Yes.
When you say question,
But it's like,
because they did, but I want to understand what
because
you mean.
Okay, did they think that was your husband, or what? Was he your manager? Because he's been everything.
Yes.
He's your lover. He's your manager.
Name
he's your
him.
confidant.
Name him.
He's the father.
Come on, name him.
Whatever he's all encompassing.
Yes.
He's a toolbox with all the tools that Monique needs.
All of them.
And so when I heard people saying that, why is he there? Why does he have to be in every interview? Why does he have to be in the background? Why can't Monique do that? Why not?
Why not? Why not? And that's when you see, and these are my sisters, but when you see Taraji, when you see Viola, when you see our sisters speaking out, you never see their representation sitting right there with them.
Mm-hmm.
You never see them saying, listen, we got to fight together.
Right.
My husband is also my manager, which is my representation.
Right.
But again, we've been so beat down that some of us have a problem with this Black man saying, I'm standing right here strong,
Right.
and I will not flinch and I will not budge. What a sad state of affairs we are now in, where you have people that look like you and I
Mm-hmm.
that would question why this man is standing there. That, for the life of me, is disheartening.
Mm-hmm.
When we heard Brother Malcolm say, we've been run amok, we've been hoodwinked, we're now doing it to ourselves.
We've been doing it to ourselves for a long ass time before this BS Red Hollywood pay came up. Like, I agree with everything she's saying because her husband or Taraji's husband or any other wife's husband being there with her is absolutely perfectly fine. Like, shoot, men do the same thing too when they're going through like a tough time, especially like a public interview. Celebrities, actors, actresses, athletes, they'll have their wife right there with them. So if you think that's weird, I don't know what to tell you. That you seem pretty weird to me, finding that weird. But all the other stuff going on in our community that actually does matter, not what some celebrity getting paid, but stuff that actually does matter, like single parent homes, crime, education, literacy, all that stuff is indicators that there's an issue with the community. Way before this bullshit took place. Like, come on. I agree with what she's saying, but that's what it took for y'all to see. That's what it took to open your eyes when it's finally affecting you and your money. Like, I've been saying stuff for a long time. But, of course, people really don't care about that. It is what it is. Niggas die every day, such and so forth. But when it's a celebrity, which we don't give a damn about them or know them, oh, we need to get it together. Okay.
Now doing it to ourselves. So when you say, Monique, it was different because we had never seen that before. You said their names.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say this. I'm not the first one.
Right.
I'm not the first one, but we get washed away in history so easily that we start thinking, oh, this is the first one. This is the first one. Her name is Claudette Colvin. And she's not the first one, but she was before Rosa Parks.
Mm-hmm.
But because Claudette Colvin did not fit the picture that they thought she should look like, she was dark-skinned and she had coarse hair. And because the organization, I believe it was the NAACP,
Mm-hmm.
did not think she would be accepted by the white people,
Mm-hmm.
they had to get somebody that they said the white people could accept. We keep repeating the same thing because what I said is no different than what anyone else is saying. Not at all.
Right.
It was the messenger. And it was the way that I'm not putting my head down. I'm not shedding one tear. I'm not going to say, I don't want to say their name because I might get in trouble. I'm going to say all of it.
Right.
Because when you really think about that little girl coming behind you, what I don't ever want that baby to see is me broken. I don't want her to see me falling apart. And I understand it. I understand how it can happen, Shannon, when you may not have a foundation at home,
Correct.
when you may not have that man at home or that woman at home, whomever, that support person saying you're not crazy.
Right.
I got you. Come on.
Well, sometimes you need to fight for yourself. Of course, if you do have that person, they should be there doing it. But if you can't have that right now because you're not at that stage of your life, you need to fight for yourself. Negotiate for yourself, get the best you can possible. And if I disagree with what you think you're worth, at the end of the day, it's you that have to deal with the consequences. Not me, not anybody else on this planet. It's yourself.
We're going to go through this. We're going to get through this. So for us, if we start taking things for what they are and get out of our emotions, we would be so far along.
Do you believe punishment? Punishment is not only meant for the perpetrator, but it's also to deter others from said acts.
You see it.
Do you believe the punishment that was bestowed upon Monique was not only to punish you,
You saw it.
but to deter others from saying what you said?
Well, Shannon, see here, and I'm going to answer that. But sometimes we act like we don't know our history. See, back in the day when they had us in chains, they would beat one real good.
Right. But
They
in
let
front of the others.
In front of the others, and they let everybody know what you don't want is that type of ass whooping.
Right.
So what they said was, we're going to beat Monique really good. We're going to sit her down. And I made it.
That whole tactic is, that's been used throughout history across this whole globe for, since I'm about to say beginning of time. But I would say more towards settled societies when you have more people in groups, because it's easier to just control an entire population through going after a few. And it happens in very egregious ways, just like slavery. It could be happening within the Soviet Union. If you have a small village and they don't want to give up their food or any other resource they may be able to produce, then you'll go and kill the mayor or the village leader or the tribal leader and not put everybody else in line. It's just a way of controlling their population. Even within the military, definitely ancient militaries, they would have this practice called decimation in ancient Rome. So, and it didn't happen that often, but it did happen. So what you would do is you would have your army or I'm supposed to put this in a way that you can understand if you don't know history. Like your unit, like let's imagine a modern army unit, but in ancient times. And you had 100 men within that unit. You would have those 100 men, I think, draw lots, or you would just line them up in a line, and every 10th person, they would be picked out of the line, and they would be killed. And they would be killed by, beaten to death. And they would be killed by their comrades. So, it just puts an extra emphasis that you don't mess up. Because if you mess up, not only are you going to be killed, but you'll be killed by your friends and your comrades and people that you're fighting with. So it's a very common practice that goes on. Doesn't make it right, but it's nothing unique or nothing different or anything surprising, at least to me.
Public
History goes beyond slavery.
Financially, my family took a hit, Shannon. And when I tell you we took a hit,
Right.
we took a hit. So when you see our sister go through that, you see her go through, and we act like our eyes didn't see what it saw when we watched that promotion happen with The Color Purple.
Right.
We wanted to act like we didn't see how Oprah Winfrey treated Taraji. In my humble opinion, when you saw her walk up, you saw that there was tension. You saw that there was something happening.
Right.
And then when you see Taraji write her a love letter, it's like, listen, we got to stand tall and stand strong on what we know. We know you were mistreated. We know it wasn't right. We know it was unfair. And then you turn around and say, oh, but Lady O handled it. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that because that allows Lady O to keep on doing what she's doing. And we're in a position of, I don't want to say nothing because we saw how Monique got whooped. Now, again, that's just my humble opinion.
So within this Oprah Winfrey Taraji thing, are they talking about like how much Taraji got paid because of Oprah Winfrey's status and connection and role she played in the previous film, the first adaptation of the book? Is that what she's talking about? Or is it something like, actual physical intimidation, emotional distress, bullying, stuff like that? Because there's a difference between you being upset because you think you should get paid more money compared to this person throwing dirt on your name, trashing you, trying to block you out from other roles, like stuff like that. So if Taraji and Oprah had this difference of opinion over how much she should get paid over the film of The Color Purple, and I don't really care about that. Like, if you didn't want to get paid that much, don't do the movie and somebody else can do it. That's just the way it is. Like, nobody's forcing you to take a role that you don't think you should be getting paid for. That's just the way it is.
But I don't know I don't know how else to frame that. It's like, listen, you better fix that because you saw what they did to her. You saw how they treated her.
Is it a situation, do you believe it's a situation that Oprah might have faced something similar that maybe wasn't as public as you? And she's looking at it, well, if I faced that, went through it, and came out on the other side and look at me, it should be okay. Because sometimes we get that with parents. I struggle. You say my kids should have to struggle sometimes also. Do you think that might be something going on with her? Or you just like, there's a disconnect?
There's a disconnect.
Okay.
There's a disconnect, and there's been a disconnect for years. There's a disconnect. And I think what happens is we place people on these pedestals and we say, oh, no, you can't do no wrong. We don't even want to hear it.
Right.
And when you hear cats say, you know what they do? They don't say anything and they act like it didn't happen. I'm going to keep talking until you take accountability.
Right.
Until you say, Uncle, I've done this. That's why it was so important. From Oprah Winfrey to Tyler Perry, Lee Daniels. Now, Lee Daniels was the only one I had to deal with. Did you see Lee Daniels apologize? He walked out on that stage. Not only did he apologize on stage, that man apologized to our children. That man apologized to our children and said, I need to apologize for what I put y'all through. He's the only one I had to deal with. However, it became a problem with Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry.
Okay, I agree with Monique on that. If that's the actual case, then of course they're wrong. If Lee Daniels had a contract with Monique and it was outlined this amount of money, this amount of compensation, and he played with her, he tried to back out, or he manipulated some type of way to get her out of it, then he's messed up for that. He's a bad person for doing that. But at least he had the balls, he had the courage to go up on that stage and admit he was wrong, and to actually say the repercussions of what he did and why it was so bad. I can't help but respect him for that. And I agree with Monique on that too. And if Oprah and Tyler Perry have an issue with that, yeah, that's pretty damn, it exposes a lot. And I hate to say that word because people just throw around so much, but it says a lot about them if they have an issue about somebody else taking accountability for doing something dirty or underhanded. So I do agree with Monique on that one completely.
That I wouldn't do something and work for free. And
Oh,
I
damn
will
right.
say this right now on your show, I still love y'all. We still love y'all.
You love more, they make it right.
My husband, okay, say that again because
If you love y'all more, y'all make it right.
Yes, indeed. Okay, I fix him a pound cake. my husband would always say, Mama, we ain't calling nobody out. We calling them up. And if we continue to call us up on our doings that are not right, we get better as a people. Like, we get better. Do you know why things were able to happen like they happened on The Color Purple?
Why you think? Oh, you talk about the remake. You talk about what?
I'm talking about the 7th one.
Yeah.
The one that just came out.
Right.
Right. Isn't that the 7th edition?
It's like the musical with Fantasia and Taraji, right?
Right,
Okay,
right. That one with all our
Now
beautiful
it's a
sisters.
musical now?
You know why
Oh,
they're
okay.
able to treat us like they treat us? How are you handpicked and you audition?
No, if you handpick, you don't audition.
I want you to say that again, Shannon, because people don't understand how deep this goes. When I watch my sister say it was an honor to be handpicked,
Right.
then why ever would you audition?
Yeah.
And the moment, in my opinion, the moment she auditioned, they knew we got him. We can treat them any kind of way we want to treat them. We can do them any kind of way.
But why would you want to?
Why?
Just because you can, that doesn't mean you should.
Well, people are people. Like, oh man, this is something that we really need to get like drilled into our freaking heads. Just because somebody looks like you doesn't mean you're always gonna be on the same page. That doesn't automatically make them a good person. Doesn't automatically make them worth dealing with. Like, I don't understand this whole idea that just because somebody looks like you just have to agree with them and trust them completely. Why would they do that, Shannon? Because they saw they have opportunity to make more money and get away with it. That's why. It's as simple as that. And I don't care what you're talking about. So, well, we all look the same. They're both black. They should, like, bro, like, this is only an American, Black American type of mindset. In Africa, throughout the whole rest of the world, people, for the most part, look the same around the people. They look the same as the people that surround them, is what I'm trying to say. And regardless of that, they still have issues, they still have fights, you still have wars, you still have genocides because of different cultures, different mindsets, different beliefs, religions, ideologies. Everything isn't just the color of your skin. Like, people need to get that through their head. Just because that's the only way you see things doesn't mean that's how the rest of the world see things. So that's why they would do it. And that doesn't make it right, but that's a simple as answer. Maybe if you go into things not just expecting, oh, this person black, they're gonna do me right, you won't be screwed over or taken advantage of. It's just so simple minded and stupid if you ask me. They're a grown person, you're a grown person. They have their own goals and ambitions. You have your own goals and ambitions. Sometimes they can be worked out together to accomplish the same thing, but oftentimes it can. And you need to figure out a way to still get something out of it, but also at the same time making sure you're not getting screwed over. That's why. It's that simple.
But they did. But they did. How do you handpick me and then mistreat me?
Yes.
And then I got to send a letter to you about the mistreatment that you gave me.
I meant to say this earlier, but she is completely right about the handpick because one of my favorite directors, Quentin Tarantino and other Steven Spielberg, they make, especially Tarantino, he writes films in mind with certain actors to play them. Whether it be when he wrote the Django, he originally imagined Will Smith, but then he got Jamie Foxx, and that ended up being better. But even stuff like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, um, I don't know how The Revenant, like all these different films, he knows who he wants, and these actors respect him so much because of his films, the quality, the writing, the accolades, the recognition that they will make time in their schedule for him and his movie because it's gonna be that damn good. That's gravitas. That's influence. That's proving your worth over and over and over and over again throughout decades, throughout different types of work, different topics. Like, that's how you do it. Not everybody can do that. Will Smith did that until he fucked it up on the Oscar stage. But still, like, he proved his worth and his ability to act, whether it's in dramas or in action films. And like I said at the start, action films, they bring in the most money. Blockbusters bring in the most money. Summer films bring in the most money. Not Oscar films, not Oscar draws, not period pieces for the most part. It doesn't. That's why they have smaller budgets, and actors usually have either a smaller payout or the fewer actors overall because it's focused on that story and the few people that's involved, and those people that are involved are necessary to the story.
That's why they're able to get away with it. That's why when I do interviews, oftentimes, or these conversations, people are too afraid to even address it because they don't want to be caught up like, oh, I don't know. When you say, wait a minute, no, that's the truth.
Right.
I heard it. And I don't want my character to be on the line as I'm being a person sitting there asking people about their lives
Right.
and then not be able to stand in what I've heard.
Right.
That's why it made so much, it was important for us. It was important for us to get you that audio. I don't want you to take my word.
Yeah.
And anything I've said on this couch right now, that don't take my word. Ask those people. Ask those people
Right.
and see what happens. And then maybe after this come out, they're going to label me again. She's bitter. She's not love.
Yeah. You got 30, 40 million of my dollars. Yeah, I'm bitter. The average person gonna be bitter.
Okay, I just want to look in your camera. Okay, and here's the thing. Because I got a king at home, I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter.
You just want what's right.
We just determined.
Right.
Not life is too good to be bitter, but we're determined for you to take accountability.
Right.
That's all. What Sidney Poitier say? It's not how many times you say yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's how many times you say no. And the moment our baby auditioned, they got set up for no trailers. They got set up for no food. They got set up for no drivers because now in their mind, they think you're desperate.
Right.
So when Oprah does the one-on-one with Taraji and
Even still, like that's beyond cutthroat. You can't even feed them. Like these films take hours and hours and hours to get through. Are you really trying to tell me that they thought it was a good idea to not have food on set? That way people can still be at their best for as long as possible to get this film out in the best way possible? Regardless if I don't care to see the film, I saw the first one that came out like in the 90s, and that was enough trauma bullshit for me to see. But either way, the whole idea that they thought, like, let's not get our own actresses and actors food on set, even, finger food, is beyond insane. That, to me, that's completely different than saying, like, I deserve this amount of money to get paid. But that's why I've been arguing the whole time. You can't demand, well, you can demand it, that doesn't mean you're going to get it. But, having food on set, that's pretty basic. Having a trailer that way you can have somewhere to sit where you're not filming your scene, that's pretty basic. I don't understand why they accept to do the movie. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't decline. That's crazy.
she begins to run down her credits, the great Taraji P. Henson, then why ever would you allow the audition to happen?
Mm-hmm.
Why ever would you allow that? Why wouldn't you go to that studio and say,
Okay, I'm gonna say, I like Taraji P. Henson, but come on, let's calm it down. Like she's not one of the top 15, 20, or whatever actresses of all time. Like that doesn't mean she deserves to get treated like that, but that doesn't mean you're a legend. Stop.
She doesn't have to.
She doesn't have to. I handpicked them. So either our sister's not as powerful as we believe she is, or either there's not the concern that she tries to make it look like it is.
Want to join Club Shay Shay? Become an official member by hitting that subscribe button.
Okay, overall, what I said about the pay, it still stands. Being treated that way about, food, trailers, all that stuff on set as you're filming the movie, that is absolutely ridiculous. Like, if you want a good movie, it just doesn't make sense from a business perspective. You're investing money into this movie. I assume you want a good box office return. Why not make sure your actors and actresses are taken care of in at least the most basic way possible? Like comfort and food. Like that just idiotic to me. Beyond stupid. And if, Oprah is part of the reason why that was the case, then of course she's messed up. But I'm not one of those people that thought highly of Oprah. I don't care about Oprah. I never watched her show. I never watched her network. I don't care that she's black. I don't care if she's a black woman. She's just another celebrity to me. She's another billionaire. I don't know her. I don't give a fuck. So this whole idea that she did this type of stuff, oh, it's just like, wow. But it's not surprising. She's another person. Tyler Perry, I don't even like it. I don't like his stuff. I never liked this stuff. But him doing anything like heinous or bad, it's like, oh, wow, another Hollywood producer, just like the rest. Oh well, not shocking. But I can understand why a lot of stuff I said in this is probably unpopular. Probably don't care. Not doing this for popularity. I'm just saying how I see it. Hollywood, money, companies don't give a shit about what you think you deserve or whatever label or title you put on yourself or somebody else. It's about what you can prove within the numbers. And within the numbers, Taraji P. Henson, Monique ain't pulling shit compared to other actors and actresses especially the ones that do big movies that get a lot of return on the box office. That's how it works, not your truth. That's bullshit. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. It's your boy Logos, and I'll see you next time. Peace.